Some lives are defined not by titles, but by a commitment to service, by a dedication to community, by a belief that wherever you are, you must leave it better than you found it. This is the story of a man whose journey has touched thousands through compassion, leadership, and integrity. A story that begins with humble roots and grew into a lifetime of achievement. Every great story begins with roots. For Richard Starke, those roots grew from courage and resilience. Born in Edmonton in 1960, the son of German immigrants who came to Canada in the 1950s, Richard was raised with a love of learning, a strong work ethic, and a deep respect for community. And from an early age, there was one calling that stood above the rest: caring for animals. After studying agriculture and forestry at the University of Alberta, Richard pursued his dream, earning his Doctor of Veterinary Medicine from the University of Saskatchewan in 1983. That same year, he and his wife Allison, also a veterinarian, moved to Lloydminster. Together, they built more than a business. They built a life.
When I made the decision to become a veterinarian, I think I was probably in my, probably 10, 12 years old. Well, I remember sort of what really clinched it. We had a little dog named Rusty. Rusty got sick 3 times. He had a habit of swallowing bones. So 3 times we had to take him to the vet when he was still quite a young pup. And at that point, my dad said, "This is getting too expensive." And he says to my sister and I, "One of you is going to have to become a vet because this is too expensive." And he was just joking, of course, but I thought, that would be a good career. And so I ended up deciding to go into veterinary medicine as a career.
For nearly 3 decades, the Lloydminster Animal Hospital grew under their care. Pets, livestock, and farm families all found trusted hands and compassionate hearts. Richard's expertise took him from prairie barns to the world stage. In 2004, he stood before an international audience at the World Veterinary Dermatology Congress in Vienna, representing Lloydminster's veterinary excellence with pride.
But I think the thing that it told me was that every patient is an opportunity to learn something, but also is also an opportunity to share with your colleagues and to share what you've learned. And certainly in veterinary practice, it's very important. That idea of sharing what you've learned as you go along is very important. The sharing of knowledge is something that's really, really critical in all professions, but certainly in veterinary practice, it's something we try to do all the time.
And in 2011, the Lloydminster Chamber of Commerce recognized this passion and dedication, awarding the Animal Hospital both Small Business of the Year and Business of the Year.
Lloydminster Animal Hospital.
So in 2011, when we received those recognitions, it was really an affirmation that we were, doing the right thing. And for Allison and myself, for my wife and I, who were the senior partners at that time, it was especially important because we had actually decided that we were retiring from practice in 2011. It wasn't known publicly at the time. Our partners knew. We had told our partners, but it wasn't known publicly. So in October of 2011, when we won those awards, it was sort of a neat way to wrap up, that phase of our professional careers.
But for Richard, service was never confined to the walls of a hospital. At just 25 years old, he was elected to Lloydminster City Council, serving 2 terms and helping shape the growing community he loved.
But I learned a lot about working cooperatively with other elected officials, forging alliances, making compromises, speaking up when you felt something was wrong. And I was often a dissenting voice on council, but I always felt that it was important that we hear all opinions. And so it was a really, really good experience.
For over 37 years, Richard has been a proud Rotarian, living the motto, service above self. He helped found the Lloydminster German Heritage Society, where his warmth, humor, and even his Oktoberfest singing helped foster joy and culture for generations.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 21st Annual Lloydminster German Heritage Society Oktoberfest.
We don't really necessarily think of the German community here in Lloydminster because it's not that big. We're more of an English community because we were founded by, Anglican, settlers and that sort of thing. And, certainly we have also a very large Ukrainian diaspora in our area, but there's also not an insignificant number of people of German descent. And so, I was one of them. And we we latched onto that and got involved with a small but very active group of people that did a number of different things in those early years.
On the sidelines of soccer matches, behind the timer at speed skating events, or leading young athletes with the Border Blade Speed Skating Club, Richard gave his time, his heart, and his leadership to youth and sport.
Doing whatever sport you were doing, whether it was a team sport or an individual sport, that those lessons were lessons that you could carry on through life. And I enjoyed that a lot, working with these young people, working with them to so that they could achieve objectives and goals, and teach them a little bit about resilience, a little bit about mental toughness. Sometimes things don't always go your way. Sometimes a referee makes a decision you don't agree with. Sometimes a competitor does something that you view as being unfair. Deal with it. It's the sort of thing that it all builds character.
In 2012, service once again called. Richard was elected MLA for Vermilion Lloydminster.
Well, I like to say that being the MLA for Vermilion Lloydminster was sort of the honor of my adult life. Those 7 years were remarkable years. They were extremely busy. I was attending events and all over the constituency, and we had a reasonably big constituency to cover. It was really rewarding work. A lot of the work that was very rewarding were the little things that nobody ever saw. The person that needed assistance with their application for social assistance and were having difficulty navigating the system. And I had excellent staff in my offices in Vermilion and in Lloydminster, and they helped countless people. And I still run into people here years later who thank me for the help that they provided for a family member in navigating some system or another. And more often than not, it was something that wasn't necessarily something that I did. It was something that one of my staff members did because they were so good at what they did. I was privileged to represent Alberta as a tourism destination internationally. I went to a conference in Berlin, and I get up on stage and I say the first few words in English, and then I switch over into German, and you just could hear the whole room, the jaws dropping, because I was speaking to them in their language, and that was an honor, and our tourism numbers from Germany went up significantly after that. So that was gratifying, to be able to do that work and to promote Alberta, to promote Canada as a tourism destination worldwide, and it was something that I was very, very proud of and very honored to do.
As Alberta's Minister of Tourism, Parks and Recreation, he faced one of the province's darkest natural disasters, the floods of 2013.
There were literally life-saving rescue operations conducted by our staff and also by search and rescue individuals who, and it was all coordinated. It was remarkable, the level of dedication. When I think about it even now, 12 years later, it's amazing, the work that was done. I was so proud of the workers and their dedication to what they were doing. But the devastation was real. I mean, years and years and years of infrastructure that had been built in Kananaskis country, but also in other provincial parks, at Fish Creek Provincial Park in the southern part of Calgary.
But under Richard's leadership, renewal followed. Trails were reopened, parks rebuilt, and the iconic Kananaskis Country Golf Course rose from ruin to renewal, a symbol of Alberta's resilience. Throughout his years in the legislature, Richard became known for respect, integrity, and a rare ability to bring people together across political divides.
Being in veterinary practice really, I think actually is a really good preparation for being an elected official, because the skills you have to bring to the table as a veterinarian, those same skills are very, very valuable as an elected person.
After retiring from politics in 2019, Richard didn't slow down. Instead, new opportunities to serve began to unfold. Returning to the profession he loves, veterinary medicine, he joined the team caring for dogs at the legendary Yukon Quest sled race. At Lakeland College, his knowledge and passion inspired students in agricultural law and policy, earning recognition as Distinguished Citizen of 2020.
Every industry that we have needs spokespeople. And our two biggest industries in our part of the world are agriculture and energy, oil and gas. Can you think of two groups of people who like talking to media less than engineers and farmers? I mean, that's not what they do, right? When we're talking about defending your industry or defending your, what you do for a living, you need people who are really good spokespeople. I wanted to encourage them to be able to be really good spokespeople on behalf of what their industry was doing.
From veterinarian to community builder, from city council to the Alberta Legislature, from local volunteer to international voice, Richard Starke has spent a lifetime caring, leading, and giving back.
In our church, we talk a lot about something called stewardship. And the word stewardship, the way I understand it, it means to carefully look after the gifts you've been given, and that we're to share those. Then that we're supposed to be generous about sharing those. And if we have time that we have on our hands that we can use to spend to help others, that we should do that. If you're going to build community, you have to give back. You have to contribute. You have to take whatever it is you're good at and figure out a way to make that a positive contribution to your community. If you just say no, or you just, every time sometime an opportunity comes forward and you say, oh, no, I'm too busy, I'm too tired, or whatever it is, well, you're not going to move the needle forward at all then. And if our community is going to grow and prosper and get a better place to grow, to work, to raise a family, to run a business, if we're going to make that a better place, everybody has to contribute something. And if that's something that I've done over the 42 odd years that I've been in Lloydminster, I'm happy that that's happened, but I don't intend to quit either. It's something that I intend to keep on doing.
Tonight, we honor not just his achievements, but the spirit of service that defines his journey. For all he has done, and for all he continues to do, we proudly present the 2025 Lifetime Achievement Award to Dr. Richard Starke.